Shorewood and Whitefish Bay residents. I mean, once in a while you can tell somebody pulls up in a van and unloads lots of cardboard, and that's probably not coming from, you know, a typical home, but for the most part, it's just your average resident.
And commercial properties, did you say?
There are some, I'm guessing, just by the vehicles that they're bringing in or the amount of cardboard, you know, that they're putting in the container, that they may be commercial properties.
I wanted to say that Conservation Land had given us a table that showed the volume of recycling, the curbside, and then the volume that comes from these dumpsters. And I mean, it was about, you know, more than 10%, you know, less than 15, but more than 10% of our total recycling volume. And also, you know, for those who weren't here when we were going through the RFP, we did talk about when could we get to a situation of weekly recycling pickup and maybe bi-weekly garbage pickup. Like we're trying to shift the stream between composting and recycling so we have more of that than we have with garbage, which is the goal. You know, this would be, we're not quite at that point yet, and you know, I'm concerned about losing, you know, 10% or more of our recycling volume. So, you know, that would be not a good thing. That was my concern about it, and I don't know if maybe you could forward that data about the recycling times to everybody.
Yep.
And then what is where you resident, I mean, obviously we can't put all our cardboard in, just like saying, well, you can't put it in a dumpster, so your trash can, so the recycling bin. So if people are bringing in as residents and we say, for any reason, one of the options was not to have it or just have it on Saturday, where else do you go? Like, what is the option that you take, where do you take the cardboard besides your garage?
You would have to have it in your cart. If the option ultimately that was chosen was that we completely shut the center down, that would have to be the answer. I don't know. You know, I think a more palatable option probably would be to have it open only on the Saturdays, that the rest of the yard is open. That would still afford people that opportunity to get rid of large volumes of cardboard, albeit at, you know, a reduced window to do so.
And then the other question just for the next meeting is, I asked Rebecca to get a copy of what our agreement with Whitefish Bay is, because they utilize the same, I don't know if it's called transfer, I don't know what it's called, but
It's the transfer station agreement.
just if we can get a copy of that in our next packet, so that we
Yeah,
understand.
you approved our most recent one about 15 months ago or so.
Any further comments or questions at this moment? If not, Josh or...
Yeah, well, I can be brief. I mean,
you want to just come up?
yeah, sure.
Thank you.
I didn't prepare anything formal, but I thought there would be more questions and stuff, but I can just say some of the things we talked about, and please remind me if I forgot anything. We talked about a variety of possible solutions, not to solve the problem, but to slow things down. So in the Conservation Committee, we talk a lot about behavior changes rather than education, because I think we know that just signs or just outreach to the manager's memo, it's not going to really change those deviant behaviors. And, you know, the air conditioner and the hose and the carpet. So putting our heads together, we asked a lot of questions. One question we had was to think about how we design the containers. If cardboard is the big question that we get a lot. But we have a lot of cardboard with more online purchasing, and, you know, it doesn't always fit easily in my carts. Could we design some sort of lidded dumpster just for cardboard? Some sort of slot. You had to have cardboard in order to get it in there. And then you'd avoid all the styrofoam and contaminants. So that was one question we had. Another question related to Whitefish Bay, which was, is there any opportunity for cost sharing with Whitefish Bay so that we can keep the center open as a service to residents without, you know, kind of penalizing people who have been using it properly? And there are a couple bad actors out there that are making it difficult and expensive for us to keep it open. That was a question that came up. And then with regard to how we would improve the space overall, we came up with a couple of ideas. And again, these would be somewhat symbolic in the sense that they wouldn't stop all of the bad behavior in an unsupervised space, but they could kind of slow things down. Most of the ideas clustered around having folks stop, read a sign, and then come into the office either for a key or to sign a form, or at least give information about the address, phone number, name with a signature, just to kind of raise awareness. We could distribute flyers at that point about visually what's accepted and what's not. And we would have some data on who is using the site. And in terms of the slowing part, we thought about some sort of, when we talked about fencing, but Leanne reminded us that the dumpsters need to be swapped out and we can't have any kind of hard barrier there. Possibly some sort of symbolic barrier where movable stanchions or some kind of chain barrier could be locked and then removed easily by staff when they need to swap out the dumpsters. So again, it wouldn't stop it, but it might kind of slow things down a little bit. And the last piece of what I'll say is that a lot of people talked about improving the signage. I don't know, do you have, in your memo, do you have a good visual on the current sign?
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of research about signs being a big part of the solution, you know. More pictures, more visual logic, icons rather than words and explanations. So we got some good ideas around that, and there's definitely been a couple communities that have researched, in particular, how signage can impact behavior changes for contamination. So we can share those with you if you're interested. But in combination, some sort of symbolic barrier, better signage, and then a check-in process. Now the big question about the check-in process is, would it introduce possible fees that you all could come up with, new ordinance language that would establish fees for misuse of the space, and some kind of way of tracking who's using it. That way, if DPW staff found an air conditioner in there and they had a list of 5 people who used it in the past hour or so, they might be able to figure it out, or at least just raise awareness to those that, you know, it might incur a $300 or $400 fine if you deposit something that is not listed on the clearly marked sign. So that's sort of what we came up with, a triple approach as a way to change behaviors. And then in terms of education, there's a lot we could do, but I think a lot of us were skeptical that it would be fast enough to solve this budgetary problem. So that's sort of where our discussion ended up.
Thank you.
Are there any questions about those suggestions? Did I forget anything?
No, I just want to, Donna Pollock, I contacted Wauwatosa and Glendale. That's probably them calling me back.
It's Tosa. Tosa calling.
They work all hours. Anyway, I contacted them to both communities because I wanted to see how they handled their, you know, if they were getting these fees. Both communities use advanced. Both communities have not gotten any additional assessments for any kind of contaminants. But I think it's, you know, I wanted to know how they handled the recycling on their property. And in Glendale now, there's, they just take cardboard boxes and you have to come in, you have to sign in. They, you know, they check everything. And Wauwatosa has a Tuesday, Saturday. That's the only time. And it's, you've got to show ID. And so it, I mean, I think there's a way we could manage this to keep this open for the community. And there were several people that were very interested in wanting to keep the recycling, because they use it, they utilize it a lot. But I think it's odd that Advanced has not done any of this to either one of these communities. And the other part is, if people are gonna, I mean, if they put plastic bags or other contaminants in our regular recycling, is this gonna be something eventually that we're gonna start getting this, what do they call it, dig out fees? Something like
I
that?
think that the dig out fee is for things like people tossing in air conditioners or, you
Yeah.
know, things like
But I
that.
mean, they can eventually start doing that to the regular pickup. So anyway, I just think it's something to look into, how do other communities handle it? Is it, how did they set up their recycling at their, with their DPW site? Anyway,
All right, thank you. And I think by looking at our current contract, I don't know that anyone got a copy of the final signed contract with Waste Management after. So anyways, we'll have that in our next packet, so we can see about if there's fees, talking about dig out fees or anything, or what we signed. So that might be very helpful. Okay, just Trustee McKay?
I just want to say thank you to the Conservation Committee for all that creativity and extra outreach. And I did just hear something on the radio about contaminants and even just household recycling and what a problem it is. So I think it is really good to be sort of proactive, not sort of, but proactive and kind of aggressive about reducing the number of contaminants in our recycling to get ahead of it. So, and I would like to explore more of these options and hear from staff how they might implement them to allow the center drop-off to continue.
Okay, any other comments? With that, I'll entertain a motion to, do we need a motion?
Not unless you want to make sure that it's going to be on a specific agenda in the future for a specific time to adjourn to a specific date.
Already, I'm sorry. Okay, so it's on there. All right,
Okay.
well, thank you very much. I guess we don't need a motion, and we can move on to our next agenda, which is a final update on Wilson Drive reconstruction. Leanne?
Sure, as noted, this is just the final of the monthly financial reports that were provided to you during the course of the construction project. This actually would have been a November/December update, but figured if we waited a couple more weeks, we could give you complete and final numbers. So that is what you have in front of you tonight. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions? Trustee Menta?
So the cost overrun is on the sewer side, and I assume our fund balance in our sewer fund is going to take care of that.
That would be my recommendation, yes.
Okay, and we're a little bit under on the regular capital budget side, but we also budgeted 60,000, we budgeted 30,000 for street furniture on Wilson Drive.
I'd have to review my notes on the board's action to shift between alleys and Wilson Drive amenities during the public hearing. But I would also like to add that as part of the fourth quarter financial report, the board has asked, and I previously agreed to provide a outstanding bond reconciliation that will address those issues. So we'll have that available for you as well for the fourth quarter report.
And
And then-
where are we on alleys? So because it looks like we'll have a little bit of money here, and I don't think we're gonna need that money for extra street furniture, because it looks like we're not gonna have bus stops on Wilson Drive. So, I mean, I'd rather put that back in the alley program.
Right, I think the takeaway from the review of borrowed proceeds with the fourth quarter report would tell you how much funds are available, and then the board can choose what options to complete within the alley program, and as always, it doesn't necessarily have to be completely spent, it can certainly be applied as a reduction of the money needed to borrow for other projects in 2020, should that be the direction the board wants to take.
Are we going, as the engineering for alleys, it was originally budgeted at $750, and then we reduced the budget. And I know the consultant's working on engineering now, correct? So I just want to make sure that we can get back to that 750 number.
As a matter of fact, we have our 90% plan review with the alley engineer tomorrow morning. So expect to have his final opinions of probable cost, and could have a much better answer for you sometime after tomorrow morning, related to what they expect the project as designed, what their cost estimate would be.
Well, I know, but you know what I'm getting at, like, you came and asked us to find money because we thought Wilson on the capital side was gonna be over, so we did, so we took money. So we said take it from alleys,